Tyrone Bowman. This is Tyrone Bowman Tonight. A tragedy in Baltimore. What exactly caused the collapse of the Baltimore Bridge? Hopefully, in my reporting on tonight, and I deliberately go across the spectrum and I derive my information from a lot of various news outlets. So here's one from overseas. According to BBC News or the British Broadcasting Corporation News, lost power, quote, lost power, a mayday call, and the crash that brought down a Baltimore bridge. By the time the crew of the Dali, a massive 948-foot or 289-meter container ship, realized what was happening, it was already far too late. The vessel, at the very start of a 27-day journey from the port of Baltimore to Sri Lanka, completely lost power after leaving the port and was hurtling towards the city's iconic Francis Scott Key Bridge. It was the middle of the night, and the crew on board were pitched into further darkness when the ship's lights suddenly went out. The vessel was dead. There were no electronics and, crucially, no engine power. They were adrift, but powerless to stop what was happening. Multiple alarms rang out as the crew ran unsuccessful tests in a desperate attempt to fix the issue and regain power. A local pilot on board the vessel frantically gave orders telling the crew to steer the rudder hard to port and drop anchor to keep it from drifting starboard. While an emergency generator is believed to have kicked in, the ship never regained the use of its engines. The pilots were left with no choices shortly before 0130 or 5:30 GMT. They issued a mayday call warning authorities that a collision was imminent. There's a ship approaching that has lost their steering, an official with the Maryland Transportation Authority can be heard saying in radio traffic recorder not long after. Until you've got that under control, we've got to stop all traffic. Maryland Governor Wes Moore later hailed the crew as heroes and said that their quick response has saved lives because authorities were able to stop the flow of vehicle traffic onto the bridge in the 2 minutes between the call and the collision. It did not, however, stop what happened when the Dali slammed into a concrete column on the 1.5-mile or 2.4 kilometer bridge, which quickly collapsed piece by piece into the dark, cold waters of the state's Paptico River. 6 people, all believed to be members of a road crew working on the bridge, are presumed dead due to the water temperature and time that has passed. The U.S. Coast Guard said in the late evening on Tuesday that it had concluded the man had died and intended to suspend its massive search and rescue effort, which had been complicated by cold and cloudy weather. Local media had reported that 6 workers were citizens of Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. The BBC has not independently confirmed this and has contacted consular authorities for comment. All 22 crew on the ship were Indian. The country is a major player in the global seafaring industry. The ship's crew were all accounted for, and none appeared to suffer significant harm. The dramatic destruction of the bridge, which opened 47 years ago, left many in the city, including Governor Moore, shaken. This is a place that is a normal commute route for 30,000 Marylanders every single day. To hear the words, the Key Bridge has collapsed, is shocking. It's heartbreaking, Mr. Moore said at a news conference on Tuesday. For over 47 years, it's all that we've known. Here's a picture of Maryland Governor Wes Moore and Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott, who were at the scene on Tuesday. Let's see, credit should be given to the EPA. So here's a picture here. It's a still shot though. There you go, picture of the mayor and the governor. Now let's get back to the story here. What exactly led to the loss of power on board the Dali? remains unclear. Jennifer Homdini, the chair of the National Transportation Safety Board, I probably mispronounced the name, excuse me, said that investigators would now seek to examine data from a voyage data recorder. It's a crucial piece of our investigation, she said, adding that for now the inquiry remains about people. It's about families and addressing the needs of those that were impacted. As the sun rose over Baltimore Tuesday morning, residents of the diverse and strongly working class area near the bridge expressed shock at the scene they had woken up to. I felt it. The whole house shook. John Flansburgh, who lives near the water, told the BBC. Today's not going to be a good day, a lot of tragedy. Another area resident, Darlene Irwin, said that she first knew there was a problem when she heard a rumbling sound. Hours later, the scale of the destruction became apparent when she looked out of her window at the Patapsco River. The massive cargo ship carried at least 33,000 containers were wedged between the debris of the collapsed bridge. By then, the entire area had become the scene of a massive search and rescue effort with police boats crisscrossing the river and police and Coast Guard helicopters flying overhead. At a local school, two U.S. military UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters were parked in a sports field, their camouflage, the clad pilots and crew milling next to the aircraft. To see it now in the daylight, Mr. Irwin said, it is just tragic. While officials have repeatedly stressed that their focus remains on the search for the missing, experts have warned that the incident could also have a significant impact on the port of Baltimore, one of the busiest on the U.S. East Coast. Maryland Senator Ben Cardin told reporters that the reopening of the waterway could be critical for the U.S. economy. The port is a key regional hub for goods ranging from steel and aluminum to agricultural equipment and is used by car makers including General Motors and Honda. From the Maryland Port Administration shows, the port handled at least 750,000 vehicles last year. This will disrupt vessel schedules and strain handling capacities at other ports such as Philadelphia and Norfolk, said Marco Wartzik, Global Director of Intelligence for Everstream Analytics, which provides safety chain services. This could lead to spillover, congestion, and delays that could last a month. Speaking at the White House on Tuesday, U.S. President Joe Biden, who said he had commuted over the bridge many, many times between his home state of Delaware and Washington, vowed to move heaven and earth to reopen the bridge. We're going to speed all the federal resources they need as a response to this emergency, he said, and we're going to rebuild that port together. Mr. Biden added that 15,000 U.S. jobs depend on that port. I'm Tyrone Bowman. Never surrender. Never.